Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustling dreams in every loop. In the park he struts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin. On the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway on the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill, Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go.
Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay in the chat. Um, we got we got Phil Adams here. We got Harlan Adams here. Harlan Abraham here. Joe Mike is here. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay in the chat. We're in Rumble Studio, so we don't have all the tools and tricks and things, but it is Coffee with Frankie. This is the coffee. I'm the Frankie. Mm. It's the 18th of May, 2025, 10:04 hours on the East Coast of America. Let me know if you can hear this bell or not. That would be surprising if we had the bell, but you never know. Phil Adams says audio visual 100%. All right, good. Well, we're in Rumble Studio, but I think we're going to go back to Restream going forward because there's not enough features in Rumble Studio. To be honest, for the money that you pay, might as well go back to Restream. Probably can't even get the bell. Harlan has blueberry coffee. All right, blueberry. That's a little different for Harlan. He's usually chock full of these nuts. But that's the way it goes. It's the 18th of May. The Jets are starting out on another phase of OTAs next week. Nothing major happening. Phil says no bell. Yeah, that's another problem. Rumble Studio. Restream, we get the bell. Rumble Studio, no bell. So Rumble Studio, you're out after today. We're going we're going back to Restream. We got to have the bell for God's sakes. and a bunch of other things that we need. And so Joe Mike said something interesting. The Knicks showing the Jet fans hope. That's actually something I wanted to cover, Joe Mike. So let's get to that news. You may not have heard. I mean, in New York sports, there's a couple of things going on that are notable right now. Nothing with really the Jets or Giants for the most part, but the Yankees are playing the Mets in a Subway Series. They have the rubber match tonight. So that's kind of interesting. Juan Soto returning back to Yankee Stadium. Aaron Judge having a great season, except when it's in the clutch, he's a little clutchless. He might be the most clutchless athlete of all time, but he's putting up great regular season numbers. When I say clutch, he struck out in the ninth inning last night. Yeah, when the Yankees need it, he's not so good. Um, But then you have the Knicks, the New York Knickerbockers, defeating the Boston Celtics. So anytime a New York team beats a New England or Boston team, that's a good thing. That's the good guys winning and the bad guys losing. As we all know, Boston is the racism capital of the world. So anytime really any team beats Boston, or New England, it should be celebrated, but especially New York because there's a rivalry there. And the Celtics were the champions last year, and they got knocked out by the Knicks. Now, why does that pertain to the Jets? Well, let's take a look at this story here. Um, Share, continue with screen. Let's see how this works here. Entire screen. Let's put this over here. Share. See how that didn't work. I have to change this. Okay. Yeah, Rumble Studios got to go. It's not. It's not cutting it. Um, so here's the headline: Mitchell Robinson's truck Timothy Chalamet and top videos after Knicks beat Celtics. So I wanted to show this because there's some incredible stuff going on here. I'm going to take off this logo. Let's remove this. In case you missed it, here's this story has Jake Asman on it. Spike Lee celebrates with Knicks fans. I wanted to show some of the Knicks fan. Here it is. Like they're going crazy. Like, look at this. I mean, this is Manhattan around the Garden, man. Like, there's Sparrows. That's still there. Wow. But this is right outside the Garden. People are climbing the poles for some reason. But look at everybody. It's insane. People are going nuts for the Knicks. Now, this is incredible, and it does pertain to the Jets because, as Joe Mike says, the owner of the Knicks is James Dolan, and he forever was despised. Terrible owner. Everybody hates him. He's meddlesome. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's an ego-driven maniac. He owns so much. He is so filthy rich. He owns the Knicks, the Rangers, MSG Network, other things. MSG, the stadium. I mean, the Garden itself. So, like, very applicable or very analogous uh, to our owner, Woody Johnson. But he's owned the Knicks now for what, 25, 26 years, something like that. And he's changed. And people now, he put the right people in charge, apparently, the head coach, the general manager, etc. He leaves them alone now, apparently. And the Knicks are having great success. They were playoffs last year. Look at this guy. Playoffs last year. And now look at what's going on with this fan base. I mean, they're going crazy. And I think everything was peaceful. I don't think anybody got hurt or anything like that, as far as I know. So, it's just the fans are going nuts now. And James Dolan's doing a good job by all accounts now. You got people on top of how did that guy get up there? I mean, this is craziness. You got Spider-Man. I mean, this is insanity. Now imagine it's the Jets who had something like this. I mean, can you imagine if it was the Jets? You know, guy's got a giant Knicks flag. I mean, it seems like everybody's having a great time, and they're a Cinderella story. It's a Cinderella story. And but the idea is that James Dolan changed, so maybe Woody Johnson could change. I mean, we gotta have hope. Look at this view. Look at this friggin' view here. This is craziness. Look how many people are there on the streets celebrating. Now imagine it's the freaking Jets. And here's James Dolan. He's giving out game balls. Everybody's loving him. He's doing the right things. Look, give a game ball to this kid. Now give a game ball to that kid. And look at this little child. Look at this guy. Can you imagine Woody Johnson driving around giving out game balls to kids? I mean, that's what you should be doing if you're the owner. Why not? Look at these guys here. All these people, they seem to love him. Giving out game balls to these young kids. I mean, makes their whole, life basically. They're going to be talking about that their whole life. That's exactly what you should be doing as an owner. You're making fans for life. That kid is never going to not be a Nick fan. Are you crazy? So this does give us hope. Maybe our guy can change. You know, I mean, really, it's really something to see. Now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we'll see if they can beat the Pacers. And people are saying this reminds them of the old days with Ewing and Reggie Miller and all that. And that's also good for basketball. But hey, maybe there's hope for us yet. Maybe there's hope for us yet. Todd is here. Good to see Todd here. Uh, Phil Adams says all change in the kicking and punting room. Yeah, that's to be expected, as you heard me talking about in the comments and on the channel and the posts and things. Yeah, it's to be expected. Zerline and Morstead are marginal players, so we're going youth movement wherever possible. I think the way to think about what we've seen AG and Muji doing is really let's set the foundation. From the previous regime, let's keep the superstars and the people we want. But anybody on the margins, they can go, and we'll bring in new kids because we got to set the foundation of the culture we want. One, that's sort of like step one. Then step two is going to be find out about Justin Fields. That's what this whole season is going to be about. And then based on what we find out about Justin Fields, either it's a yes or a no, we don't know, but whatever it is, then you make the next decisions about what to do based on whether it's a yes or no. If it's a yes, you sign him up long term. He's our guy. Let's go. And you build around him. If it's a no, then we'll be at the top of the draft and we'll be taking one of the top quarterbacks. And then we got to develop the quarterback all like that. So that's what's going on. So I would expect people like Michael Clemens to probably be gone. I would expect eventually maybe somebody wants to trade for him or something. Maybe we could get a seventh round pick. You never know. Somebody might want him. Guys like that who are on the margins are going to be out of here. That's what we're learning. Joe Mike says the Jets got Zerline, Morstead, but Clemens. Can the players they signed Michael Fletcher be the Clemens? Probably not. Decent numbers at Appalachian State. Yeah, but it's Appalachian State. So probably not. He was a UDFA. He doesn't have a very distinguished career. He didn't get much playing time at Michigan State. Then he transferred to App State. So he probably won't be as good as Michael Clemens. Now, Michael Clemens, who's not that good, of course, maybe we could trade him. Maybe some team has some injuries and we can get a seventh round pick for him or something. That's probably what they're and we're perilously thin. Like Fletcher's probably not even better than Michael Clemens, unfortunately. I mean, he's a UDFA out of App State. So but you never know with these UDFAs. I mean, who the hell knows? But the odds are not in they're not in the favor that that's going to happen. Jojo, let's go, Frankie. TS Paulie, good to see you. Skills, baby. Babies don't really have too many skills, though. Um, Imagine if they win the Eastern Conference, let alone I know, and they could win, right? Can't I mean, I don't think it's impossible to think that they beat the Pacers. It'd probably be a good series, right? And yeah, I mean, It's crazy to see the turnaround. It's crazy to see the fan base, reacting the way they are. I think it's really kind of wild to see this kind of reaction from the fan base. It's crazy. It's awesome. And I think the Jet fans are just as crazy. I really think that we are. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Something to keep an eye on. Imagine if the Knicks, imagine if the Knicks go to the finals or win the finals, and then in baseball you had a Subway Series for the World Series. That could happen. The Mets are good. The Yankees are okay-ish. The Mets are doing good. The Yankees are doing pretty good, first place. So you could see maybe a Subway Series in the cards. Maybe the Knicks go to the finals. That would be really something. It's been a long time. They said it was 25 years since the Knicks made the Eastern Conference Final. 25 years. That is a long time. Uh, JoJo says this is the Knicks' best chance at a championship. No great teams left. Well, we'll find out. Yeah, they got a shot. Why not? Let's go for it. Skills baby. OKC is the best remaining. So that's in the Western Conference. So all we got to do is beat these plucky Indianapolis Pacers. Bring back Patrick Ewing, bring back Reggie Miller. Remember those days? Those were crazy series. Spike Lee getting involved. That's one thing I don't like, though. I saw some of these videos, and it's all these celebrities, sitting, courtside, and then after the game, they're all, it's like Ben Stiller and Spike Lee and all these celebrities. Like, I don't want to see these stupid celebrities. Get out of here. Let's see the real fans. The real fans are on the street, and the celebrities are in the front row. I'm in the front row. It's like, get these celebrities out of here, man. Like they did something, these stupid celebrities. Uh, JoJo says Woody's too clueless. Maybe when Brick takes over. Well, what about Christopher? I mean, Christopher seems to be different than Woody in a good way. What about Christopher? Maybe Christopher could take the torch. I mean, we don't want to wait for Brick. Brick's in college right now. It's going to be 10 years before he takes over, at least. But what about Christopher? Yeah, maybe Woody can't learn. That would be, I mean, Woody's had such an opportunity to learn from his experiences. I mean, if he's not taking notes about what James Dolan has done here with the Knicks, then yeah, he's just a clueless moron. But I try not to think that Woody Johnson's a clueless moron. I try not to think that because it's very depressing to think that our owner with all this money is just a clueless moron, has no idea what's going on. But maybe that's the case. I mean, I don't know. The guy basically did one smart thing his whole life. Well, a couple of smart things. I mean, he took his inheritance and put it in the stock market instead of spending it on hookers and blow. That was very smart. And then over time, those stocks went up, and he made tons and tons of money. All right. And then he bought the Jets, and those were two very good decisions. But maybe those are the only decisions that were good his whole life that he ever made, and everything else is just a cluster funk. I don't know, but it's a very depressing thought to think that. So I try not to. I try to avoid thinking that Woody's a complete moron, but maybe he is. And then all we can really do is wait for Christopher to take over because I don't think Christopher is a total moron. He seems to get along with people better, which is part of being is part of being a rich and powerful person. You need to get along with people and do politics amongst people. And Woody doesn't seem capable of that, even though he was in politics. And he didn't seem to learn from that experience either. The guy doesn't seem to learn from anything. And that's very concerning. I mean, people who do not learn over time are generally less successful. Now, Woody's been successful because basically he made two really good decisions. Like I said, he put a big chunk of money into stocks, and those stocks went up, and bada boom, he's rich. And then he bought the Jets, and that was a smart, investment, obviously. Uh, but if you think about people who learn, I mean, I think one of the things I like about this coaching staff, for example, is it seems that AG and the coaches that we hired are lifelong learner. They do want to learn about different things all the time, just constantly learning, learning, learning. I hate coaches who are just set in their ways and they go, "We got our system and it works and we're never changing and it doesn't matter what kind of players we have or anything like that. We are just running our system and that's it." I hate that. I want coaches who are adaptable, flexible, always learning about new things, always curious about the latest trends and what's going on and who's doing something innovative. Let me learn. Oh, what's this innovative thing? Let me pick it up and maybe add it to our arsenal. So the coaching staff is good that way, at least, from what we know about them. But it doesn't seem like Woody's that way. But maybe Christopher is. I'm going to hold out hope for Christopher. I'm going to put it that way. Because if Woody's a lost cause, all right, let's say he is. It's depressing to think that, but let's say he is. And he's just always going to screw things up, and we're screwed as long as he's the owner. I mean, well, that's very depressing. But then you could hold out hope for Christopher. Like, that's the way I see it. You got to just hold out hope for Christopher, not Brick. First of all, Brick seems like a dick, but he's a young kid. People at young age are often dickheads, um, especially when they come from money. So I'm gonna hold out for Christopher then. That's what I'm gonna do, Jojo. That's what I'm gonna do. 41. What do you think about a new punter's athletic ability? Yeah, I put Jet 41. People should follow me on X, and you'll see what I think about, about these things. So I put out a tweet that said, "Hey, look at these highlights for Kai Kroger." There's a video on YouTube, and it's very interesting. And Kai Kroger is a weapon. So I think Kai Kroger is going to be our punter, and I think Caden Davis is going to be our kicker. Davis was rated higher by Brugler than Ryan Loop, who got drafted by the Ravens. So it's kicker rating. So who knows? But this Davis guy that we signed is not a nobody. He was highly regarded, at least in the context of kickers, rankings. So I think he's going to win over Anders Carlson. Um, and we'll have and this guy Kroger guy can be a weapon. He can do fake punts like Brady Man did, if you remember. Braden Man did. So we could have some fake punts, and also he's a good punter. So yeah, could be interesting. That's what I think. Jet 41. Mike says, "Go sign Jay Clowney." Yeah, we're gonna see. They don't seem to want older players. I would sign Jadeveon Clowney. I would sign Zadarius Smith. I would sign a bunch of players myself, but we've been through this, and they just seem to want young guys on the margins. They don't really want these older guys so far. Now we'll see if that changes on June 1st. So one date to keep in mind: June 1st, we get a bunch of money freed up cap wise. So there may be some signings after June 1st. There may not be. We're seeing what Muji's doing so far in Muji's first off season as a Jet general manager. It's very underwhelming. And we'll have to see why that is going forward. In other words, maybe the plan is just to get younger this year and then build on top of that next year once the foundation of the culture is set. Maybe they'll spend a little bit more next year, but there were plenty of moves that they could have made this offseason that they did not, that they had plenty of money to make, and they oddly didn't. So we'll have to see how that goes going forward. But the trend so far has been they want young players. They want them in their like mid to late 20s. If they're going to sign somebody, they want them in their 20s, 26, 27, 28. Clowney's older than that. I personally would sign him. I would sign him and Zadarius Smith. Myself, we need two more edge players and we need two more defensive tackles, in my opinion. I don't know how we're going to stop the run with a bunch of bums at defensive tackle. It doesn't make any sense to me. So we can say go sign this, go sign that, but that has I'm trying to figure out sort of the pattern of Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, and this first year may not be indicative of what we're going to do going forward. Don't forget, uh, uh, Darren Muji is also currently having lots of interviews with people to fill out his staff. So we got to let him get his staff in place. I mean, he's getting rid of people. There's one we know he got rid of, Murphy, and another one called Andy Davis is probably getting a promotion. But other than that, we don't really know what Muji's vision for the front office is going to be. We got to let him get his own front office people in there um, before we can make too much of a judgment. I think this offseason so far has been underwhelming with what they've done. But on the other hand, he didn't even have his own staff. So, and we got to clean up some of the books, though we'll always have some dead cap, of course. Every team does. It's not a big deal. But still, got to clean up some of that. And then let the vision, you know, uh, come to fruition before we make any too many judgments. Phil Adams, winning stuff allows fans to forgive and forget unpopular owners until the losing return. Well, I think James Dolan has really done himself a solid. I mean, it's more about the process for Dolan. Dolan, I think, learned to stop meddling, right? Tell me if I'm wrong in the chat, but because I don't follow the Knicks tremendously, but my idea, the way I think it's gone down, is that he used to meddle all the time and made dumb decisions. Then he stopped meddling, put the right people in charge, and basically took a step back, hands off. And now his job is to hand out game balls to kids, that are on the street, while he's driving away in his limousine, which is what you kind of should do if you're the owner. I mean, your job should be more on the fan side than the actual running the football side, and of course on the business side. But the fan side is kind of the business side, if you know what I mean. So you'd like to see that process continue. Like even if even if the Knicks lost that series to the Celtics, or even if they lose now to the Pacers, I think fans are going to be pretty satisfied with James Dolan and his performance and what he's put out there on the court, and the process for what they're going to be, moving forward. Um, and that's the way it should be. And then you do have to win. It is important, of course, but I think I think fans have just kind of gotten, or got kind of saying, "All right, this guy gets it now." Whereas with the Jets, people are not saying, "All right, Woody gets it now." Where I think, I try to stay optimistic with him. Maybe he can get it, but there's very little evidence that he does and can, at least so far. So I have to see. Thinking is overrated. Yeah, skills, baby. I agree. I think Chris would do much better. Yeah, well, I mean, we would. It's hard to do worse. Woody's just so cringe. Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, he is cringe. That's for sure. But I don't care about that. He can be cringe all he wants. What I care about is the actions he takes, the things he does. Yeah, he's cringe. It's like, dude, uh, that's just sort of annoying. But the actions he takes are the things that actually matters. So we'll have to see. Bill Adams says being able to communicate with peoples on all levels is a gift. Woody likely suffers from a lack of the common touch. He sees many of us as below him. Well, that may be true. We don't know. I would hate to think that this is true, though. I mean, if you think about it, like, how can you be so blind to the fact that Woody Johnson was just born into the right family? He didn't do anything. Like his father built Johnson and Johnson. He didn't. Woody Johnson had nothing to do with Johnson and Johnson. I hope people understand that. Nothing. His father and his family built it up, and he was just born into a very wealthy family from and then they built up that company. So yeah, I get it that I don't know. Some kids in that situation do see themselves as better than everyone, but it's really annoying because it just shows a lack of perspective. Like, I don't know. Some people who were born that way, they realize, oh wow, I got lucky. I better do a lot of philanthropy. I better help people. I better do something good because I got advantages that other people did not. Let me give back. Let me do some philanthropic things. Let me donate to some, et cetera, et cetera. Which is just like obvious at this point. Like, how can you? be born into wealth and not go, "Wow, I better help." Now, he does donate money to charitable causes, of course, don't get me wrong, he does do that. But still, at some point, you gotta say, "Man, maybe I should develop my people skills. Maybe I should develop my political skills in order to do more good in the world." I mean, if anything else, I mean, geez, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Gills says it's Saleh stubborn, right? That's what I hated about him. Yeah, I didn't care about Sauce playing cat coverage. I mean, you could use Sauce on cat coverage if you want. That really wasn't our problem. Our problem really was sticking with the wide nine when it got exposed, and they just ran it up the middle all day long, and then we were exposed. But yeah, Saleh and Ulbrich were way too stubborn, and they had their system, and they were just going to, whatever it was. If we had bad defensive linemen, well, we got to stick with this. You know, because basically to make that system work, you need really good defensive linemen, and you need like 8 of them. You just need so many, and that's the only really way that it could work. So if you don't have them, Joe Douglas made that stupid move of trading JFM, but like if you have, and then JJ got hurt and all. So like if you're gonna have a downgrade on your defensive line, you probably shouldn't use that scheme so much. But they just kept using it. When Woody wants the Jets to win, yeah, he wants them to win for sure. He'd like them to win, but you know, Hill 66, Silver Spoon. Yep, I agree. Skills, I think we all agree that Woody does want to win, but he doesn't know how to win. Yeah. He doesn't hire the right people. That's what Dolan finally got right. Yeah, and that's the thing that actually worries me about this cycle. Obviously, AG was the correct hire. I think we can all agree, based on the circumstances. We went hard after Vrabel. So we went hard after him. That was the correct thing to do. And then when the Patriot job opened up, we knew we were going to lose him to the Patriots, and that's exactly what happened. So can't fault him for that. And then the next best option for us, considering the two hot offensive coordinators, Cohen and Johnson, Ben Johnson, they told us early on the process they're not interested in the job. So given that, the next best candidate was AG, and we hired him. Okay, good. We did got that right, given the circumstances. But was Muji the right hire? I mean, Muji came out of nowhere. So that's the part of it that I'm questioning. I don't quite understand why we hired the 33rd team and they found this obscure dude in deep inside the Denver Broncos front office that no other team in the history of football decided to interview, let alone hire. And we interview him and hire him. So usually the way it goes with general managers is you get interviews, and then there's another cycle, you get more interviews, and you don't get it, you come in second and all this. Then eventually there's a cycle and boom, you get hired, you're number 1 on somebody's list. And that's normally how it goes. Nobody interviewed Darren Muji for a GM job. Not one team. 31 teams out there. They turn over GMs all the time, or a lot, except for apparently the Saints and the Browns. Um, I mean the Bengals. The Bengals have had that guy as GM for like 26 years. Same thing for the Saints. How do these guys stay on the job for 25 freaking years? I don't understand. Nonetheless, like nobody thought to interview Darren Muji. Now he may turn out to be good. I don't know, but his first go around this offseason, pretty underwhelming. Pretty underwhelming. Draft was okay, good. The second half of it a little shaky. And same thing with sort of the free agency period. Fields and Sherwood, good. The rest of it, kind of shaky. Cisco, nice. I mean, if they could turn around Brandon Stevens, uh, okay. But you paid him $12 million. And if you can't turn him around, that's a pretty Pretty steep price to pay for someone you're trying to turn around, and that was on the Baltimore Ravens before us, and you're trying to turn him around because the Ravens couldn't do it? Mm, okay, seems a little I mean, I hope so, but, seems a little risky. Um, so and then he signed a bunch of tomato cans and Chooks Okorafor, who quit on his team. So, the rest of it so the top of the free agency period, good, solid, was looking, optimistic, and then it kind of fell apart. Some okay signings. Stone Smart, nice. That was a good one. Take a chance. Some of these other people were very underwhelming. Um, but we'll have to see. But like I said, we got to let him get his people in place. And I think by next offseason, we could fully judge the Darren Muji hire. But let's hope that like, how did Dolan get the right people in charge? Like, did he have a 33rd team type of people helping him? How did he suddenly hire the right people? Tom Thibodeau is the coach, and he was a longtime assistant coach. So I guess that's how he knew him. But and it just sort of like progressed up the ranks. But how did he get the GM in place? Did he just how did he get it right? Just lucked out? I mean, did he hire a 33rd team type of people or what happened? What was the process? Because I'm not real happy with the Darren Muji hire right now. I'm in wait and see mode, but so far I'm not that impressed. I mean, I could have drafted Armand Membu. Like that's not impressive. I would have drafted him. I would have drafted, given the circumstances, the way the second round broke. I would have drafted Mason Taylor. Like if I could do it, then we don't need a $5-10 million GM, whatever he makes. You know, if I could just sit there and do it, right? Those are the obvious ones. And then every other pick that he made and every other trade that he made in during the draft is questionable. Maybe they'll work out, but you could question every single one, especially in light of our roster needs. So, I mean, you're going to give him points for drafting Membu and Taylor. Those are good players. I'm glad we have them. But me and you could have picked them. Me and Phil Adams sitting there could have picked them. And you could pay me and Phil Adams a lot less than whatever you're paying Darren Muji. I'll tell you that much. We'll work for cheap, right, Phil? We we'll work for cheap, and we could have picked those two. So, you know, I want to know how Dolan got that right. Oop, I got it. Next week. I'm going back to restream. This Rumble Studio is annoying. I can't freaking. Anyways, Tony Alexio is trying to pick this comment here. Tony Alexio, no yeah, exactly, Tony. We had a big fat hole in the roster, and we didn't address it. We refused to address it in free agency properly. We hired three bums, and and then we had a draft that was deep in defensive tackles, and we took none of them. I couldn't believe it. It's crazy. What about Aaron Glenn had a lot to do? All right, fine. You want to call it the brain trust together? That's fine. Aaron Glenn's a first-time head coach. He's going to pick the players too. He's a first-time head coach. So he's going to run the draft and he's going to coach everything and he's going to handle all the administrative stuff and he's going to do all the media. I mean, that seems risky too. This is not Mike Vrabel that we hired. This is not, Pete Carroll that we hired. This is not Sean Payton that we hired. We hired a first-time head coach and we all have high hopes for him. But if you're going to tell me, okay, the first-time head coach is also going to run his first draft as well, I mean, that seems a little ridiculous. Now, of course, the head coach has input, of course. But if he's in charge of the draft and has a lot of say, well, I'm not sure that's a good strategy either. I mean, it's the first time doing it. So you're going to come in, be a first time head coach, and have a lot of say in the draft and handle everything else he's got to do. Mm, I don't know, man. Skills, baby. The agents run the NBA, and Dolan hired a couple of high powered agents. Well, the agents run the NFL too, skills, baby, to run his front office. Well, maybe that's what we should do. Let's just hire David Mulugeta, and David Dunn and Todd France to be our general managing crew, to be our front. I mean, the hell. I mean, the agents run the NFL too. What's the difference? Difference is, all guaranteed contracts in the NBA, just like in baseball. But well, if that's the case, then we probably made the wrong choice. I mean, the NFL doesn't really have too many examples of agents crossing over to the other side and being general managers and stuff like that. The NFL, it's usually you work your way up from the scouting spot and or the capology spot, and you work your way up, and whichever one you are, you hire an AGM on the opposite side. That's normally how it works in the NFL. There aren't too many examples of agents crossing over to the other side. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what that tells us about what we could do with the Jets. Bill Adams, I could have picked Membu for a free drink at the bar. Yeah, you work cheap, right, Phil? I mean, we work cheap, man. You could hire me and Phil, Adams, for probably 1/10 the cost combined, and you get two people. Yeah, we'll work 24 hours a day on the Jets. All right, you hire me. I'm working 24 hours a day on the Jets. I don't got no, I'm not spending time with the family. I'm eating in the office. I'll sleep in the office. I'll be all about it. I don't got to take any vacations. Vacations? What? We're working on the Jets. Takes 24-hour attention. We can't be taking a vacation. Can't be taking time off. You can't be tired. No. Sleep in the office, eat in the office, everything Jets. You can't be sitting around going, well, I wish I could take a vacation with my family. No. What? This is the Jets. You have to turn around a bum franchise. The hell? You heard Darren Muji saying he's going to take a couple of days off after the draft. Did you hear that? Oh, I'm tired. Tired? You're 39 years old. What? There's no tired. There's no tired in football. You want to tap out, Muji? Like Anthony Richardson? The hell are you doing? God's sakes. You're going to tap out? Take a break? A break? What? There's no breaks in football. You think Mike Vrabel's taking a break? You think Brandon Bean is taking a break? You think Elliot Wolf is taking a break? You think Chris Greer? Well, he's probably taking a break. But you you think John Spytek is taking a break? His name is Spytek. He's not taking any breaks. He's spying with the tech. Get it? John Spytek. These people are not taking breaks. And while you're sleeping, they're working. Okay? We need people who are just completely 1000% focused on the Jets because it's the only way we're going to be able to turn this thing around. I'm going to take a little break. Break? What? What break? You need to be scouting. You need to be finding people. You need to be finding defensive tackles who could tackle somebody. What the hell is this? Let's get some bum out of Appalachia State. Oh, yeah. He'll do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Went to Michigan State, couldn't even get into the lineup. Then he goes to App State and gets a few sacks. Oh, yeah. That's good. Get him. That's good. Yeah. He'll do it. Sure. Uh, Tony Alexio. Hopefully Fields will be our Vinny Testaverde with legs. Yeah. Now that's the one thing that could really save the regime is if Fields comes on. Do Joe Mike Greenbean should have been the GM choice. Yeah, I mean Greenbean. Think about it. If Greenbean was the GM, guess who he's hiring as the HGMs? Me. And probably and Jets Chaos and Gunny. We'll have everybody in there, and I guarantee you, if you hired that crew, we would not be saying we need a break. There would be no breaks, no breaking, no, none, zero breaks. If you hired us, we would work 1,000 hours a day to get this team correct. We'd be scouting the Canadian Football League, the UFL, the European League of Football. We would be scouting it all because we have to find somebody to come in here, okay, who can help us tackle somebody and block somebody, okay? We're not going to be happy with Derek Noddy, who used to be good 5 fucking years ago, and Rashad Weaver, who had 5 sacks 3 years ago, and Jay Tufele, who nobody had ever heard of, and some other guy that the Patriots said goodbye to immediately 2 years into his tenure. They said, "Yeah, you're not good enough. Get out of here." Those guys were going to help us. What? No. So I just don't understand this situation. You know, and there's players on the market right now. Right now, you could announce the deal now, even if you're going to sign them after June 1st. You could get Zadarius Smith right now. You could get Jadeveon Clowney right now. You could get Byron, what's his name? Brian Taven Bryan right now. You could get a blocking tight end right now. There's nothing stopping you. But hey, well, let's go into the season without a way to stop the run. See how that goes. Okay. Merlin Antonio. I mean, we should get the whole crew, Phil. We'll just get the whole crew to just work nonstop and for very little money, too. You could get a bargain. You could get a team of 10. You could get like a pack of 10, Phil. You could get a 10 pack for the same price you're paying Muji. And you're going to get 10x the effort. I'll tell you that much. Dom sees the head scout. Uh, Jojo, we're not competing till 27, maybe. Well, it'll be a depressing 2 years, Jojo, if that's the case. I tell you that much. I mean, how much losing can we take? I mean, this fan base is toxic as it is. I don't know if you've noticed, but this fan base is extremely toxic. And so, you know, it is what it is. I don't know. It's a depressing thought to just never ever compete. It just really is. But maybe that's the way it is. Why not for the Jets, Jojo? Yeah, I don't like this Rumble Studio way they have this. Yeah, it's hard to even keep track of this stuff. Right. Well, I guess we'll call it a day for today. Thanks for joining on Coffee with Frankie. Next week we'll come back with a restream, so we'll stop with this Rumble Studio stuff. Not enough features, I think. And we'll see what's going on with the Jets at that time. Feel free to subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you already subscribed, tell somebody about the channel and maybe they want to watch a video or something and subscribe to it and give it a thumbs up while you're at it. And I will see everybody next week. Thanks for joining.